good evening. Welcome to Enough Rope. What would happen if you added this to this, threw in a handful of this and a pinch of this, then added this? If you survive the explosion, you get my first guest, English comedian, actor and musician, Bill Bailey. Welcome to our distant shores.
Thank you very much.
Not your first time to Australia.
No.
Every comedian, when they travel to another country, they get something from that culture. As a comedian, what do you look forward to when you come to Australia?
Well, mostly the customs regulations.
Any in particular?
They seem to become more specific every time I come. You know, the first time I arrived, it was just a basic, you know, arrangement of nuts, berries, wooden items, animals, bees.
Yes.
You know, do you have any bees? About your person.
Yes.
You know, like, you take bees on holiday, you know, like... Who are these people that can't leave bees behind? We're going to Australia. Let's take the bees. No. Let's just take one. Steve. Let's take Steve. Take me, take me.
For those looking at Bill right now and thinking, where do I know him from? You may have seen him from Black Books, and we'll get to that in a minute. I want to show a little bit of Bill. This is from one of your first shows called Cosmic Jam.
Oh, thank you very much.
So, for your full Perliging intro, we have to look to the genius of Mozart and his classical Meisterwerk, Sonata in C.
It's obvious when you play it like that. What's the fascination with the Cockney music? Because you do a lot of that.
It's kind of part of the London culture, is this sort of pearly kings and queens and this roundhouse piano style, this ding 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 ding, you know. And it's kind of, you hear it, you know, just it's a sort of a pub style of piano, and I just thought, yes, maybe there's some Cockney leitmotifs hidden in the classical repertoire.
Well, you did an amazing job, because there's Mozart and there's Grieg and there's Bach.
Yeah.
Is it everywhere if you really look close?
If you're looking for it, yeah. Yeah, it's everywhere. I mean, like the Hallelujah chorus, you know, the Handel's, you know, which is Hallelujah. Yeah. It's actually not, if you actually go back to the roots of it, it's it goes, yes, we have no... Yes, we have no... Yes, we have no bananas. We have no bananas today. And it's actually, yes, we have no bananas.
Yeah. You were classically trained in music,
yes.
Is that right? Yeah. And is it true that as a child you could hear that the vacuum cleaner was in B flat?
Yes, I could, actually. That's not just like some lunatic claim. I actually had perfect pitch. And... it's... Somebody going, damn! Ridiculous! I've never heard anything so ridiculous!
I want to show you a man who I think probably had a huge influence on you.
OK.
That, of course, is Victor Borgia.
Yeah.
What impact did he have on you when you first saw him?
Well, I just thought, yeah, there's something about music which actually has this power to sort of, you know, to just kind of cross all these boundaries.
He had this incredible skill. I remember seeing him once as a kid, the sheet music, and he played this incredible piece of music, then stopped, and then turned it round the other way and played it in reverse. Which was I mean, you're fortunate that you've actually got the perfect pitch and the skill to be able to muck about with music as much as you do.
Yeah, no, I think the thing is you need to know what you're doing, and to sort of, you know, make fun of a genre of music, you have to almost have an affection for it, you know, and understand the actual music very well, you know, because that way, in a way, it sort of aids the joke. You know, it's better, you know, you understand it a bit more and people recognise it straight away. People
look at you and think of you as a hippie, but in fact, your musical background is punk, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I grew up in the 70s in the West Country, and I remember vividly going to see punk bands. We went to see the Undertones and the Susie and the Banshees and the Stranglers. It was a kind of a time when music had been very manicured and very sort of polished up to that point, and punk sort of kind of let you know that it didn't have to be. You know, you could just get a guitar and just form a band and just, yeah, go on, just, you know. And I remember getting a guitar. It was £14, 14 quid. It was called a Watkins Flyer. And it was the...
Sounds like a bike.
It was the worst guitar I've ever had. You know, the strings were out here, and the guitar neck was there, and you had to kind of clamp it on with your elbow. But it was... it had an energy which I was definitely attracted to.
I hope you don't mind. We've actually... Al, if you could bring out the instruments.
Oh, blimey.
Because we're going to operate on you.
Oh, right.
No, look, because music is your second language. If at any time during this interview we've got a guitar, the Watkins Flyer, in fact, and some keyboards here for you. If at any time you wish to...
what a performance.
Yeah, there you go. I've been up all night making those. Yeah. While you're thinking about that, I'm going to show...
I feel affluence upon me.
If you'd like to answer in jazz.
Jazz. Hey, I could answer in jazz. You want me to answer in jazz?
OK.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Because actually, there's a format which is very much maligned, which is jazz scat.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of... People hate that. Well, I really like it. People actually, yeah, stop it! They actually cringe. But I don't know. I kind of like it. I think you should use it, you know, in the news. You know, like in the news item. You know, take the edge off a nasty news item.
Yes.
And there was a huge bomb today in Baghdad. Wow! Whoa! Or the other use I have for the jazz scat is to for my own personal use is because a lot of things I find very scary. A lot of theme tunes I'm unnerved by.
Yeah.
You know, like you know, the sort of the Imperial March from Star Wars. You know, which I had as a ringtone for a while, and also a doorbell. But it's a shocker as a doorbell because you just get a garden full of Ewoks. You know. He goes, press it again, press it again, press it again. So, no, that's no good. There goes Cockney, no, but no. I prefer it in the jazz scat form. Yeah, so jazz. Ow! Jazz!
I'm glad I said the word jazz.
You say jazz, you unleash this maelstrom of chaos.
I'm down with you, man.
Sorry, good.
Yeah, that's... rock, of course, is another arena for you. Yeah. I want to show a little bit from Part Troll.
Oh, Part Troll.
This is your tribute to U2.
I'll give you a demonstration of a catastrophic technical failure at a U2 gig, right?
You see, they're playing Jingle Bells.
I had no idea it was all done with an effects pedal.
It's just all effects. It's the Edge is playing Jingle Bells most of the time.
Yes. So, did he work again? Has he ever worked since you did that?
No, I haven't heard from the U2, all their lawyers. So,
Can I take you to Edinburgh and your show Rock?
Oh, yeah.
That on one occasion you played to an audience of one.
You had to bring that up.
I'm sorry.
You had to bring that up.
The psychiatrist asked if I would in a group situation.
Get a Herbert Lom-style twitch. Clouseau? Yes, that is true. I did. We did. And it was another comedian, a friend of ours. So it wasn't even someone influential like a critic or someone. No, just a mate of ours. And the show was a two-hander. I played a kind of rock star who's got a bit befuddled and forgotten his songs, and he disgraced himself at Live Aid, the big charity thing. He'd made a terrible mess of it, and he'd gone into hiding for 10 years, and this was his comeback gig, and he couldn't remember any of the songs, the chords, and he had a loyal roadie with him who'd sort of stuck with him through the hard times, played by Sean Locke, who's another comedian friend of mine. And so the show started with Sean going out and kind of geeing the crowd up a bit. And then he'd say, right, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Bill Best. That was my name, the rock star's name. Bill Best. And I would come out, and I was a West Country rocker. Hello there, all right, And the first song is, I can't remember it. Was it, Sean? What's the first chord, And then all I could hear was Sean, and he was going, in character, right, he goes, ladies and gentlemen, we've got... Ladies and and he went, for God's sake. All I could hear, he just went, what's the point? Right. And then he said, he just said, Bill, come out here, mate. And I thought I was still in character. What do you mean, Big Sean? What? Come out early? Yeah, no, Bill, forget all that. Just come out. And I just kept going, what do you... I can't come out yet. Well, and he goes, stop it, forget it. We're not doing it. Just come out, mate. There's no point. And we came out, and it was a theatre. There was one bloke sat there. There's this comedian called Dominic Holland. And he was sat there, really sort of, come on. And he just said, and we just stood there, like, totally no pretence of doing a show, just like that, just really kind of down. Like and he said, come on, lads, just enjoy yourselves. And we just said, no, Dominic, no. We'll take you to the bar and run you through the highlights if you like. We're not doing the show just for you, because that's weird. That's a bit uncomfortable, but yeah.
It must be hard to go away from something like that and still have faith in what you're doing.
I did, because, that was, obviously, financially, it wasn't a success.
Well, who bought the drinks?
Exactly, yeah. That was our last couple of quid, because we ended up owing the promoters, like, loads of money. We owed them, like, 20 grand or something.
Wow.
So we had to sort of then work off this debt by touring around doing the show. And
you were doing, like, 320-something shows a year.
Sometimes, yeah.
I assume that you get to know the motorways of England really, really well.
Oh, God, yeah. Yes, yeah, you do, yeah. We were doing 300-plus gigs a night. No, not a night, no. Now, that would be a trick.
On a bit thick, Bill.
That's right, yeah. We were doing 17 gigs a second at one stage. 16 of them in other dimensions. Yeah. I'm actually doing another show right now.
So, as you're travelling the motorways in the middle of the night...
Yes.
I've sensed that's a very lonely time.
It can be, yes. You can... The mind can turn. And you end up, yes, in a lot of service stations. I don't know what the equivalent would be in Australia. We have my name for them is Cathedrals of Despair. And what they are, there's the 24-hour service stations where you just turn up and there's congealed food waiting for you.
And you could probably get to rate them after a while. You know the good ones.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah. You know the good one. You know the one where you get a nice cup of tea, a bigger cup of tea. You could, you pretended to be a lorry driver, you get a bigger cup of tea.
How do you pretend to be a lorry driver?
I don't know, just adopt a gruff manner. Talk about lorries. Oh, tell you what, it's hard work driving that lorry. Woo! That big old wheel there, up in the lorry I was driving, and any chance of a tea?
Yeah, that'll do it. Joker's Southend, Friday night was a turning point for you.
Oh,
Can you explain the venue first of all?
All right. Joker's Southend had a kind of took on this sort of legendary status as being a really, really tough gig. I used to be in a double act, the Rubber Bishops. We used to do music parodies and such like. Anyway, this was before I went solo, and the bloke phoned me up and said, he said, "Would you come and do a gig?" And I said, "Well, my mate's on holiday." And he said, "All right." And he tried a lot of other people, and then he came back to me and said, "No, I can't get anyone. Can you do it on your own?" And I thought, oh no. So this was like a baptism of fire, like doing one of my first solo gigs in this really tough environment. Because this crowd, they were really smart as well. It wasn't just like a, drunken rabble. They were quite comedy savvy, and they were vicious heckles. Like I saw this one guy, he came out as a kind of hippie, like with a smock on like this, and he had a guitar and a strawberry sort of attached to the guitar. And I don't know why. And he came out, and I heard somebody. He was started about 5 minutes in the act, and somebody shouted out. It was the most vicious thing. And he's going, "Oi!" And he goes, "Tell us a joke." Right, and the bloke started to tell a joke, and then the heckler said, "I was talking to the strawberry." And I was very nervous, and all I could remember to do was this act that I've been doing, this double act, which was a very highly polished double act, kind of chit chat and songs. It was very punchy, 1, 2, boom, boom, And of course, there was no one to bounce. There was no punchy. There was no bada boom, bada bing, bada boom. It was just me, And I realised I learned all the setups. I didn't know the punch. He was the one that did the punchline, so I had this kind of half an act in my head. Yeah. So I was kind of stumbling through this thing, and then this classic thing, the bloke said, "Oi, tell us a joke." Oh, no, I don't know any jokes. I couldn't think of one single joke. My mind went a complete blank. And so I started, almost like as a kind of, reaction. I just went, "Oh, well, 3 blokes go into a pub. That sounds like a joke." And suddenly the audience went quiet. Boom. He knows. He's got one. So there was, because they'd been a bit sort of restless. But, look at this, the hippie, they don't really thought about it. Tell us a joke. 3 blokes going to a pub. And they were right on it. So I went, I thought, I can't bottle out now. So I went, right. And then I just thought, where do I go with this? So I sort of, I kept going. I went, 3 blokes going to a pub. And I say 3. It was 4. It was actually 4. I say 5. It was 10. 50. 100. 500. 1,000 blokes. They just kept going. 1,000, 10,000 blokes goes in the pub. I say 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, 100,000, 500,000 blokes, 10 million blokes goes in the pub. Small town outside Rotterdam goes in the pub. No, not I say Rotterdam, Holland, The Hague, all of Northern Europe. Eurasia, not the band, obviously. The whole population of the world goes into a pub, and the first bloke is at the bar and says, "I'll get these." What an idiot. And I just kind of, this whole sort of...
And this was, you were just running on panic at this time.
That was pure adrenaline.
Yeah.
And I realised actually, oh, hang on, this is where this should be going, really. I should just sort of let go of this act that I've been doing and just sort of freeform jazz comedy. But and that was it. That was a kind of as you say, it was a kind of watershed moment.
Wow. Let's talk about a meeting of 2 great comic minds, yours and Dylan Moran's. For many Australians will know this. This is an excerpt from Black Books.
I'm not totally convinced we should open as a restaurant, and if we do, and as I say, I'm not entirely sure. I don't think we should open tonight.
Shut up. I'm trying to make creme brulee.
Do you have to drink quite so much wine?
Yes, I do. How else are we going to get candles and empty wine bottles? There's 2 for you. Get stuck in.
It's a great show. It's lovely. You're looking at that and laughing. A lot of people look back at their stuff and go, "Oh, yeah, I'm over it now."
No, I just had such fun doing that. It was a while back now, and it was such a blast we had making that show. It was. I mean, there was wine in those bottles.
Yeah.
We tried substituting it for black currant cordial, and that made us feel sick. So we said.
You got a lot of humanity into the character of Manny, which is unusual in a sitcom. How did you do that?
I always play that sort of slightly lower status character on stage, my comedy persona, not the sort of, you know, the kind of, you know, the guy who's, you know, putting people down. So I fitted into that role quite well. So,
because you've described yourself as a nutter magnet, what sort of people do you attract?
Yes. Well, looking around, and it's kind of pretty much the demographic. I don't know what it is. When I say nutter magnet, I think nutter maybe is a sort of a loaded term. You know, I tend to use the word those with no agenda. No. You know. Yes. You know, seems to be less offensive, and but you know, all provisional members of the public. That's it. And I don't know whether they're nuts or so much people just find me quite approachable, so they maybe come up to me and start talking in a way that they probably wouldn't do with other people they might recognise. People just come and just chat away to me and just start, you know, a little conversation, and they kind of, I don't know. I get in the audiences. I get a guy just felt he needed to tell me something. In a show in Edinburgh, he says he jumped up in the middle of the show and he said, "Hey, son!" He was, "I'm not very tall." He wasn't very tall, but, you know, he was, "I'm not very tall." Ah! Whoa! I went, "Oh, no, well, you're not, but, you know, really need to know that, but...
maybe for him that was a coming out.
Yeah, maybe it was.
Yeah, maybe he hadn't told anyone that before.
That's right, yeah. He'd been in the sitting position his whole life. Now's the time. I'm not very tall! Whew, got that off my chest.
You are a healer, Bill Bailey.
I'm a healer. People come to the front. Touch me, touch me! Touch the beard! The healing beard.
I'm short. You have an effect on me.
Anyone feel the need to...
You made a series on a show on Stonehenge, which I want to show a little bit of. This is Bill's theory on Stonehenge.
There's all kinds of fanciful theories that abound about how Stonehenge came to be here and how the stones are standing in this way. Aliens perhaps dropped them here, used them as a beacon, a landing platform, a pod. The Arthurian legend is that giants brought them from Africa to Ireland as healing stones, and Merlin carried them across the Irish Sea using some special wizardy telekinetic skill. My own theory, though, is I reckon it was all one massive stone at one stage, and it's just been chiselled out by ants. What?
It's just as plausible.
It's as good as any other, that's
as good as any.
What was it like for you to be at Stonehenge?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Does it have a real sense of history, mystery to it?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's because no one really knows. I mean, there's all sorts of theories. Like, I mean, I was saying there, you know, there's all kinds of theories about why they're there. And even you talk to the most eminent historians about it, they don't really know. Why there? You know, why on that particular hill? You know, there's all kinds of other places on that line that it could have been placed, and particularly the fact that the big stone, the huge stones, were dragged 26 miles from a quarry, you know, north of the place. And you think the guys that were dragging it, you know, once you dragged it 100 yards, yeah, here's fine, you know, and somebody going, no, it's 26 miles. You're having a laugh, aren't you, surely? What about just there? Just here, next to the quarry. That's where we want to do it.
I'd like to finish the interview. We've seen your virtuosity on various instruments, but there's one, a rare instrument, which you have learnt.
Oh.
It's the theremin. Al, could you bring it out, please?
Oh, right.
Can you tell us a little bit about the theremin while this...
Right, well, the theremin was invented in the 1920s by a Russian radio engineer called Leon Theremin, and which gives it his name. He invented it by accident. He was messing around with radio parts, and suddenly he kind of put his hand close to the aerial, and the sort of thing went, and he sort of thought, oh, maybe I'm onto something. And it became a kind of used a lot by science fiction movie score writers like Bernard Herrmann and The Day the Earth Stood Still, and then latterly the Beach Boys used it, and then bands up till the present day use them. You play it by by moving your hand closer and further away. You don't actually touch it.
So I've often wondered, after it's gone, woo, is there anything else to do with the theremin?
What, after you've done the woo?
Yeah, shit.
Well, you could just go woo like that and save yourself a lot of hassle.
Well, look, I feel like I've undercut the performance now.
Oh, yeah.
Could you give us, to close off, could you give us a burst of theremin?
I'll try, yes. sorry.
You still struggle, don't you?
No, that stops it from sounding. So that's the volume, and this is the pitch. So if I kind of, you have to just kind of guess really. There we go.
Make the scary man go away.
It's how I get my child to sleep every night. Now is a time of robots. And if you do not sleep, the robots will come. And we will all be destroyed. Sleep tight.
Bill Bailey, ladies and gentlemen.